All right, kids, gather around. It's time for another edition of SoCal Saturdays with our friends at AmWager, the Sporting Tribune, all the good spots. I'm Louie Rabaut from the Horse Racing Happy Hour and ESPN Louisville, hanging out with my buddy Barry Spears, as I do every time this week, ahead of the races on Saturday out there. Of course, the Grade 3 Summertime Oaks will be the highlight of the card on Saturday there at Santa Anita. And Barry, I would like to go ahead and thank this show for the increase in handle that we've seen in the spring at Santa Anita Park.
Oh, yeah, it's all us. I mean, without us, there's probably about $500,000 that isn't going in the pool.
Per week, at least. But no, thanks for hanging out with us again. Go check out our friends at AmWager, man. If you need a new platform to check out in your ADW life, I cannot suggest any other than AmWager. Get their edge right now. It's an online betting platform designed by horse players for horse players. Speed, power, top-tier features like those predictive true odds, and, of course, the conditional wagering. Simple win bet on up to a pick six. Get in with our friends at AmWager live in California right now. They are matching 100% up to a $150 deposit on your first deposit with our friends at AmWager. Get that edge. Get AmWager and AmWager.com. All right, Barry. Well, this is a card. You know, we get that overnight kind of early in the week, and we get a sense of how many horses are going to be in here before the morning lines come out and all that sort of thing. And I remember sending you this one and going, boy, we're going to have some fun with this one. And boy, did not disappoint when I was going through it.
Yeah, the fields are big, competitive. You know, I think we're going to get a lot of prices probably later in the card, but man, it's a good one.
You can't get away from my people. It's one of these things. You know what? These are your people now too, Barry. I got to tell you,
right.
These are your folks too. You got to deal with the Steves of the world. That's just how it goes on these shows. But again, AmWager and AmWager.com. Get in with them right now. We'll go to race one out there at Santa Anita. If you're new to the program here, we always try to tell you what's going on at the bottom of the screen. So whenever you jump into the show, or hey, I want to go back on Saturday and watch this thing on YouTube, Spotify, wherever it is you're going to find it, you can always find the race, the sequence that you're looking for by looking at the bottom of the page. Race one. Race one is an optional claimer here over the turf course there at Santa Anita Park. $50,000 is the claiming price. $34,000 in the purse here, Barry. I thought an interesting starter to the card here. A shorter field, which we usually don't say of 7 here on this Saturday at Santa Anita Park, which is a nice thing to be able to say. But you like a long shot in this spot.
Not too long, I guess. You know, Time Song seems to be a little bit better than these. I know this horse had a tough race in the Woodchopper down at Fairgrounds, but he was keeping pretty good company. He has some speed, and in this kind of steady diet we get of these optional claimer 50,000, this horse kind of fits. I know he was in a non-winners of 2 last time, but I think his numbers and everything in competition he's been keeping really stands out here. So we're going to put him on top.
See, we'll hear Pete Aiello's name as he calls Louie the champ on the outside in this one. The 7 horse. No, I am not name picking here. I promise. This is Barry's second horse. Happens to be my first here. We'll break from the outside. Armando Ayuso, as we've talked about many times on this program, we hold in high regard. He's getting better and better mounts as he spends more time in Southern California. And I think this is the exact kind of race that he wins. His horse the last 2 times out has been within 2 lengths of the winner, second 2 back and 4th last time out. I think is probably due for a breakthrough at some point in this kind of company, Barry. So would not be surprised to see any combination of the 1 or the 7. You have the 6 in your handicapping as well in Bolt Supremacy. We've seen a bunch of these Bolt Doros doing good running as well.
Yeah, you know, he's kind of the best of the rest. You know, I thought him and Louie the champ were kind of almost interchangeable as far as running style goes and actually speed figures and all. But like you said, Armando Ayuso is riding really, really well. He's getting on really good horses. So that's kind of why I put him in the second spot. But, you know, those 2 horses should be rounding out this field. You know, they have the numbers to compete.
I think the 3s in here is interesting as well. Nation 9-2 here for Kyle Frey and Michael McCarthy. Broke his maiden last out. And once in a while in this kind of company, Barry, I just want a horse that's won recently, right? Has seen the front of the pack rather than the mid part of the pack in these races. And certainly that was at a maiden 50. But hey, that's how you got to qualify for this kind of condition. And so I think Kyle Frey can pilot this one. I think a similar run to last time as a winning run in this race as well. So this the 3 in Nation might be an interesting one to include in your exactas or trifectas as well. Barry Spears, Louie Rabaut hanging out with you. This is SoCal Saturdays with our friends at AmWager. We go through the card in Southern California every single weekend right here. Our friends at Sporting Tribune, wherever you're hanging out with us, we really do appreciate it. As well, $32,000 claimer in race 2. It's on the dirt, 5.5 furlongs here. Just a straight claimer here, Barry, $32,000 to get your horse picked up by someone else, I guess. But approval rating is the 4 horse in here. Will land on top for me. Another one coming out of a maiden win, and yes, a restricted one here, as this is a Florida bred and sold for a $45,000 kind of price, and so qualified for that maiden special last out. But I thought was really, really fast. Did a lot of good work early from the gate, and I think in this group, being quick out of the gate might be good enough. And so I'm going to lean on the 4 approval rating. I love the price at 6-1. I don't know that we'll get it by the time we get there, but OJ Haregi and Asai Espinoza, excuse me, as so many of these riders are either at Saratoga, at Churchill, what have you, for the weekend. A guy like Espinoza is going to have to step into these kinds of mounts, and I think he's very capable of winning this kind of sprint. This horse very good the last 2 times out, second by a neck, and then breaking through last time in the maiden ranks. I think a little bit more distance here actually won't be the end of the world, and so I really like this horse in this spot. I love that 6-1 price, Barry.
Yeah, I struggled with putting this one on my selections. I really, this horse has the potential to be any kind, and this is the kind of race where that sort of thing can poke through.
Sure.
But in the end, I thought Night with Louie was just a standout. And it's not a hunch play. But
I
yeah,
will have to. I'm obligated to put $20 on Louie here, right? I mean, that's just a thing.
I was gonna say that double is a no-brainer.
Yeah,
uh, but Night with Louie just seems to be head and shoulders above these horses class-wise, and probably will run to it. I wasn't thinking there was going to be too many surprises here. Use the 6 Lady of Sky second. Another one that's shown speed, and a little bit of positional speed might go a long way in a race like this.
I'm interested as well. I went after the 4 to Night with Louie. I agree with you on that. But the 3 horse in here, Petite Treat, that you have not mentioned quite yet, gets the Orontes Pipey mix that we don't get too terribly often. They're only 1 for their last 11 there at Santa Anita Park. And Mike, unfortunately, a slow start to this meet for him since the Santa Anita Derby. But this one, second off the layoff here, is switching turf to dirt, which is pretty okay for him. Frankly, he's won 2 of his last 10 doing that. Going from turf to dirt. I wonder if this horse is actually maybe even a level below the 32 level. Maybe this is like a 25 or a 22 kind of horse moving forward. But I do think Petite Treat in there for an exacta trifecta kind of play makes a lot of sense as well. In your handicapping in this race as well, you have the 5 horse and Polythene Pam coming in here. That is one I definitely left off of mine. What did you see?
Well, it's tough because these races that you'll see, like this one, where some of them are scheduled on the turf, some of them are scheduled on the dirt, and horses kind of go back and forth, and it's hard to get a good gauge as to what's their best surface because a lot of them kind of run the same on either.
That's right.
I think the addition of Lasix for the 5 will give it just a little bit of a bump up. This horse was running in pretty good races all the way around since the beginning. Came out running. Was probably over her head in most of those races, gets back to a reasonable level, adds Lasix, a little bit appealing there.
That was race 2 at Santa Anita Park this weekend. Again, go check out our friends over at AmWager and AmWager.com. AmWager.com. They've got that deposit match right now, 100% up to $150. Hey, works on the Belmont Stakes, whatever you want it to do. Go get that right now. They are live in California. Race 3 will be a $16,000 claimer going a mile on the dirt course there. Purse is $25,000 in this one. I like, Barry, that we're seeing more of this kind of race being carded at Santa Anita because we're getting 7, 8, 9 horses in these races. Just fill the gates for me, people. Just give me some horses to bet on in this case, and we certainly get that in race 3 here. You've got the 4 on top in race 3 at 3-1 in Ready to Pounce. What do you like about him?
I like that last race. The horse got to a reasonable level. I know this horse was a little bit wide, but should get a better trip at this level. I like the second time at a particular level when they drop in. Usually they run their best race at that level. Should be tracking Nauvoo, and this horse will be, as its namesake, ready to pounce.
I like how you did the dad joke for no reason other than being a dad. Zimba Warrior on top for me, the two horse here. Out of the Jesus Aranga barn here for Armando Ayuso. This one has been running an optional claiming company, but before that was at this level, won by open lengths. Before that, ran at the 10 level, won by open lengths. I think we're just getting back to what this horse is supposed to do. 6 for 28 lifetime at the distance. This is so clearly what this horse has done just over and over and over again. But I'll go ahead and take him on top. 2 wins and 4 runs this year already in this kind of company. If I can just get a winner amongst this kind of group, I feel really strongly about this. This might be one, Barry, that I get really aggressive with early in the sequence. I like him that much.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. I mean, he definitely runs his race pretty much every time, and has been doing it for a long time, and that's really my reservation. That's why I have him third,
Okay.
because I think he's still going to run his race. He's definitely going to be in the number, just not on top.
Okay. Race 3 as well after the 4 horse. You have the 6 horse in your handicapping in Nauvoo that you mentioned, but after that, you did have him in third. Are you leaning more toward the 4 ready to pounce being the class of this group, or are you going to have to use a couple if we're doing, say, a multi race here?
I would lean towards Ready to Pounce being head and shoulders above these.
Okay.
Nauvoo is a good horse and has speed, and I think this horse will hang around. But there's other speeds that kind of get in this horse's way, like the 5 Man Child, even the
Yeah.
inside horse Leia's Candy might get involved early, so it could be a little bit of an impairment for a horse like Nauvoo.
Yeah, a fascinating little field here. Just a field of 7, but does seem to figure out. You and I did not talk about the 7 on the outside in our handicapping here. I have him second in Contrarian Chieftain. Ran really well last time in optional claiming company. Drops back into the claiming like ranks. This is a horse that they set up so many of these races for Barry because they were based in Northern California, but we've discovered that he fits in Southern California, right? So he's a horse that fits just fine in these other kind of claiming races. Will run for 16 here, dominated a 5,000 claimer earlier, picks up Kyle Frey in the mount here as well. So clearly moving up in the general ranks as far as his career as well. I thought looked really good last time in an optional claimer. This should be a lot of class relief for him as well. So Contrarian Chieftain for me in the second spot in a race 3. We go to race 4. We head back to the grass. We're on the flat part of the turf course going 6 furlongs, sprinting here in a maiden special weight. This is for Calbreds, and $60,000 is on the line. 3, 4, and 5-year-olds all qualify for this one. Barry, you've been leaning on this show toward the first timers. Where did you land in this one?
I didn't in this spot. I've been actually waiting for Miles Finch to get back on the track. I liked him quite a bit February 22nd. He ran a pretty good race. I didn't think he was going to go to the lead that day, but got beat by King of Clubs, who's turned out to be a pretty good turf horse.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
and this race doesn't seem to be a lot of speed, and I think this horse can wire him. The only issue may be the price, but
Okay.
I think if we get 3-1, that'll be perfect.
Yeah. I think anything 2 to 1 and longer, I think you're going to be lucky, but I think you can get it. He is interesting here. The only thing I would say is the layoff, but Sadler's totally fine off of the layoff. This seems to be a very logical spot for this one, who did go a mile last time, but before that was sprinting. Flavien Prat and Juan Hernandez have had all of the mounts. That's what they think of this horse, frankly, in his young career as well. A son of Ronsky. We've seen the chosen Ron out of that group as well. And so just an interesting, fits this spot very well. You and I landed on the same horse here. We also landed on the same second horse, which is the 10 in High Plains Drifter. I'll go first here, and I'm not going to lie. I'm basing it largely off that last effort. I thought it was that good. Lands in the Mike Pipey barn here, but this is second off the layoff here. He's pretty good in turf sprints, etc. I think you might be 9-10 and just move on with your day here, Barry. But when you and I agree on a horse, generally speaking, it finishes pretty well.
Yeah, we do well. I mean, we had Touchdown Brown, a couple weeks ago, but yeah, I'm with you. High Plains Drifter, that last race was real solid.
Really solid.
And it seems like they kind of figured this horse out going into the Pipey barn. He got him to run better than he has previously. Maybe it's the distance, I don't know, but I like that last race, and he looks like a logical horse to run up behind Miles Finch.
I know right behind them you have the Jeff Mullins trained Subic Boy, the 6 horse here. Also, the aforementioned Asael Espinosa gets the mount here. A second time starter. I love the last 2 works on the Topeka course. They were going from dirt over to the turf this time. I think this son of Stay Thirsty, obviously that Bernardini line there. This could make a lot of sense for this horse if he does like the turf, especially. Um, this is one I think you might have found the diamond in the rough here.
Um, I think this horse stands a good chance. I would definitely keep an eye on the board, because if this horse just drifts up too far, he might be a little cold. But if he's right around that 10-1, you might want to take a second look. He's a 4-year-old going against a bunch of 3-year-olds, and some others mixed in there, but he's lightly raced, has one start, and some good workouts coming into this. It wouldn't surprise me if he runs really well here.
Yeah, it's an interesting race. I ended up on the 7 in the third spot, Curlin Command. Very boring for me here, but Armando Ayuso does get the mount here. Kazushi Kimura had the mount last time in a maiden special weight at this kind of level against the 3-4-5 types. I just think eventually this horse is going to break through. Race 4 is usually a good candidate for that as well. Is only carrying 120 pounds in here because the horse is 3 years old. A little bit of weight relief here compared to other runners in this group. So maybe he's able to sneak it in that way. But I think the 9 and 10 do stand above this field in a pretty significant way. We'll close the early pick 5 with race 5. This is a maiden 50 on the dirt. It is 6 furlongs and a $33,000 purse. In here, again, nice field of 8 for this one, Barry. I'll let you go first here. I make the declaration again. Are you looking for a first timer?
Yes, I am.
How about that? Hey.
Yeah, I mean, the horses that ran in this race that have run already don't really look all that intimidating.
Sure.
And there's only really one first-time starter who has a decent workout on May 18th. Might be the best gate work on the page. 47-1 handed from the gate at Santa Anita. I think this horse they want to turn him out and just let him go, and I think that'll be the right move, especially with a horse with a little bit of speed and flash the smile. Um, if Rockford Peach can clear and get the lead, watch out.
George Papadopoulos, of course, the trainer here. Abel Lascano will get the mount. I'm really fascinated by him because when you draw the rail like that, you got to go.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, no options here, right? And you mentioned the work from the gate and how quick it was. If he breaks well, who knows, right? Especially in this company with a bunch of horses that haven't won in the past, haven't won previously.
Well,
Go ahead.
that's actually where the gamble is,
Yeah.
and that's where you want to try to figure out your price. So, however you think the chances of this horse breaking well versus the price this horse is going to be, because you don't really want to take a 4-1 on a horse that's never
Sure.
done anything before
Sure.
that might break slow. But at 10-1 makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I landed on Elsa Dutton, the filly that will break from the 3 here. Ricardo Gonzalez for Phil D'Amato, surprising to no one. Almost won at this condition last time out, going 6.5. Hopefully the slight, or excuse me, yeah, going 6.5. Hopefully the slight reduction in distance here will be good for that one. Flash that smile right next to it. The 2-horse makes a fair amount of sense. But as you point out, these horses have been in maiden claimers before and it didn't work out. So why not take a flyer on the 1 in Rockford Peach in that spot? I assume you get the Rockford Peach reference here.
From League of Their Own,
How
right?
about that? Look at you. All right. Good job out of you. I was going to say that uh, be some guy in the comments just coming over the top, just
Oh
just
man,
going
would have
at
killed me.
it. Steve wants to know in the 4th is 9-10 a cold exacta. I'm not mad at that.
No, I'm down with
I'm
that.
I'm not mad at that. If we're going cold exactas with Barry Spears, that might be what we're doing here. But after the 3-horse for me, I landed on the 6, Big City Miss in this spot. And this is purely class relief and trusting Juan Hernandez. I want to be very clear. There's nothing on paper that makes me think that this horse is going to be spectacular, other than the obvious move to the claiming levels, which Michael McCarthy does add a quarter of the time he wins those races. All of the numbers make sense here. Turf the dirt, 24%. This amount of time off, 21%. He wins maiden claimers at 23%, et cetera, et cetera. It's purely just a numbers play at that point, Barry. Not one that we've seen do it on the track to this point, but maybe the class relief will be just enough for this one to move on and be a little bit better. I know you had the 3 in the second spot, but Lil Boom Boom's going to break from the outside. I feel like that's the worst rapper name of all time,
Oh,
but
horrible.
There's got to be a guy named Lil Boom Boom out there, right? I
I
mean, there
hope
just
not.
has to be.
I I mean, there's a horse named Lil Boom Boom, so at least they got that going for them. They got a
Yeah.
twin. Um, but Little Boom Boom, I think needed the layoff and then
Okay.
the class relief. Getting Lasix makes a lot of sense in this spot.
Yeah.
You know, as the losses keep piling up. I mean, this horse finished second 4 straight times.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to wonder if they may even have to drop even lower. But I'd give them the shot to hit the board here in this race.
Again, we're presented by AmWager and AmWager.com. This is SoCal Saturdays. We're on the Sporting Tribune in different places. He's Barry Spears. My name's Louie Rabaut. We do this every Friday. We would love to have you back next Friday as well. Race 6 is up next, and it starts the late pick 5. If you are so interested in those kinds of things, it will be down the hill on the turf course there, going 6.5 furlongs. It is an allowance, so $61,000 on the line. This is for Calbreds as well, Barry, as many of the best horses are traveling for the Belmont Stakes Festival. We find tons of these state level races around the country. A nice field of 12 for this one. And I know you and I have a lot of sleuthing to do because there aren't a lot of horses in here that have won going down the hill. Frankly, I think there are none. And so we're going to have to try to figure out what to do here with this group of 12. This is where I think you're going to start throwing bombs. Which one did you land on?
I landed on the 9 Piper's Causeway. This horse's grass races are pretty decent. You know, I just think he's just run into bad luck. And his 2 down the hill races, the last one wasn't that great. The comment in the form is fractious between gave way, which tells me this horse was out of sorts from the beginning
Hmm.
and probably didn't want any part of this. But the time before that, this horse just missed, going 6.5 down the hill. If they get that kind of trip, and again, USO is a big factor in this selection because I think he's a great positional rider, almost akin to Flavin Pratt. He gets this horse in the right position. This one's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, I don't think that's an inaccurate measure of him. He is the best of whatever that Golden Gate style was, where the guys had to be in the proper position and patient, because otherwise it just didn't matter. If they went too early, they were done. If they were out of position, they were done. And so I think Armando grew up that way in the Bay Area, and I think he's brought that quality of his riding to Southern California as well. I landed on the 2 horse here in Sir Rocket at 6-1 for Neil Drysdale. This one last out going flat 6 furlongs under Mike Smith was very, very good. Just missed behind Miss Joe's Curlin. I'm wondering with him, Barry, and I've seen him down the hill once, lost by about 2.5 lengths. Maybe a second time down the hill will be kind of the charm here, but I think I like the price more than anything else. Horse that's run 4 times, hit the board a couple of times, did break his maiden sprinting on the turf at Santa Anita Park, and so maybe get back to some of that form as well. But again, in this kind of race, I think if you take less than say 5-1 on your horse, I think you're kind of missing what this offers.
Yeah, there's quite a few horses that will be trying to get the same trip, and a lot of them are going to be pretty decent prices. So I wouldn't fault anybody for throwing one downfield here.
You also like the one in this spot, breaking from the quote unquote inside, going down the hill in the Shillelagh. I'll tell you what, you walk into that the jockey club. I'm going to name my horse the Shillelagh, not a Shillelagh, not some Shillelagh, the Shillelagh. You understand me? This is a son, of course, of the factor in this spot. In this spot, Tiago Pereira gets them out. What do you like about this 12-1? Because I can't believe this one's 12-1. I'll be honest.
The Shillelagh always reminds me of the cartoon cops back in the day. I think I'm aging myself here,
You
but
are aging yourself.
that's what that reminds me of. But
Okay.
anyway, this horse was running a mile
Yeah.
and
Yes. Right.
showing decent kind of speed, and I think down the hill will probably do this horse a lot of good.
Yep.
I think the way this horse is training, and kind of it looks like this horse is feeling good, just needs the right distance down the hill. Why not 12-1? Brobro finished behind Brobro last time, who was a pretty decent horse. So
Yep.
I wouldn't discount this one at all.
4-year-old Catman Sue will break from the 4 in this spot. Hector Barrios gets the mount, and this one has been on the turf 4 times, hit the board 3 of them. His one win did come on the dirt, and that was over at Del Mar sprinting, first time ever. And then they immediately moved this horse to the turf course. Interested to see, Barry, if the hill helps this one. Tried it 2 back, and frankly didn't do his running till much later. I wonder if a little bit of familiarity walking up that turf course, the horse will be a little less worried about it heading down. 9-2, about as short a price as I'm going to be comfortable with in this race, this nice field of 12. And so I'm 2-4 in this spot. I know you and I are on very, very different horses, so we're going to keep going here. Oh no, you have the 4 there as well. Okay,
Yes.
we finally met in the middle somewhere. I also have the 7 in my handicapping. Just to the outside of Uncle Chili will be Annan for Juan Hernandez and Alexis Barba. This one running a mile and has been running a mile for a while, Barry. Kind of a similar angle. Broke his maiden 2 back, came back, almost won again. Part of the angle there for me is that this horse has just gotten used to being near the front at the ends of races, and I'll take that at a big field like this as well. But I think outside of the Summertime Oaks, this is the race, no question, Barry, that I'm most looking forward to on Saturday.
Yeah, the down the hill races are always exciting. They're always fun to look at, and horses go fast, and then you see horses coming from behind. So there's always a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a spectacular spot. Late pick 4 will start with the feature on the card. It's the grade 3 Summertime Oaks here. We're going a mile and a 16th on the dirt course at Santa Anita Park. It is a grade 3, which means there's $100,000 on the line in this one. A trio of Baffert trainees, including the favorite here, Barry. But I thought an interesting field in that we get, for example, in the one, we get a thought process who spent her whole life on the grass last year. In fact, ran really well, won the Surfer Girl here at Santa Anita Park as a 2-year-old, goes ahead. They try her in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf. If people don't remember, when they turned for home
She led a
in
long
that
way.
race,
Yeah.
she was there, man. And so this is her. She just gets to the end of that 5th race. She's tired by the time she gets to the finish line at Del Mar. They give her the time off. And here she is in the dirt, in the Summertime Oaks. Interesting to see her in this spot, Barry, but where did you end up landing?
Yeah, thought process, if this horse comes back like Nitrogen did,
Right.
we might be in trouble, but I'm not so sure that's going to happen. But I did land on the favorite here, Cash Call. Bob Baffert unleashes these kind of horses going long a lot. And,
Yeah.
you can definitely see the improvement from 2 to 3 and now stretching out. It makes a lot of sense here. I'm not sure anybody in this race can hang with their stuff.
I have the other Baffert next to her as my second. And this is a horse coming out of the Santa Anita Oaks. And before everybody jumps on me about how bad the Santa Anita Oaks is, a reminder that Tenma still finished 4th in the Kentucky Oaks. Let me say that again. Tenma finished 4th in the Kentucky Oaks. We just watched Lacara win up at Saratoga today. So that I don't know that that's a bad spot. If you can finish in the top 4 or 5 of that kind of group in the Kentucky Oaks, I'm going to think a lot of you. And Silent Law went second against Tenma. And look, nobody was catching Tenma that day, but she had the lead for a while. She's going to do a bit of front running speed, I think. I think Cash Call is probably going to end up sitting right off of her. And I think these two are going to try to be the lead here, Barry. But I've seen way crazier things than a horse like Silent Law get the lead and just keep it. Now, I'm not calling that at all. I think, we talk cold exactas on this show, but 7-6 feels like one to me in this spot. I just really like how she looked in the Santa Anita Derby. She was clearly the best of the rest. And that's what we're talking about here. We're going from a grade 1 to a grade 3 in this spot, and or grade 2 in the Santa Anita Oaks. But we're dropping in class here. We're taking on horses like Cash Call, who have never routed before. I don't know, man. I've seen a lot crazier things than that, and I do think she's worth keeping an eye on. But I agree with you. I've got that 7 on top. We've seen this formula with Bob Baffert before. Agree with you on that. You have the 2 in the second spot here in Howen. Drayden Van Dyke gets them out here for Bob Baffert.
Yeah, the other Baffert. Yeah, I think this horse has more upside than a horse like Silent Law. It seems like Silent Law is in there to kind of be the tracking horse for the Cash Call, which leaves Howland kind of as a closer type in a race that might be fast up front. I mean, there's a potential where Bob sweeps top 3 easily here. But I kind of think that Silent Law isn't as good as the other 2. So we went with Howen.
Our Moonlight is the 4 horse in here. You and I both have this horse in our top 3. Only run twice. She just ran in a 6 furlong race, finished second in an optional claimer. What do you and I both see in her other than, I think the breeding is really obvious. She's a Tappet, right? You got an Unbridled Song on the dam side. I think she's set up where They watched her break her maiden back in December. They brought her back, and this kind of race was always going to be what they were shooting for. And so trainer Dean Peterson gets her in this spot. I will be interested to see him have her stretch out like this. He's 2 for his last 10 doing exactly that. So it's not as though he's got a 0 on that at all. He's doing it at 20% in recent time, at least. You seen the similar things that I'm seeing?
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean the stretch out makes a lot of sense.
yes.
Dean Peterson does very well stretching horses out like this off uh, two
You'll two
sprints.
sprints around.
I
Yep.
mean, it just seems like everything's lined up for this horse to run a good race while stretching out for the first time. If it wasn't the first time, I'd probably like this horse a lot more. But definitely interested to see where this horse ends up in this race.
The late pick 3 starts here. Again, a $3 minimum and only a 15%. Take out one of our favorite bets at Santa Anita Park. It'll start here. You can, of course, bet that at Amwager and amwager.com. Go check it out with our friends over there. 100% deposit match right now, up to $150 available to you ahead of Santa Anita, ahead of Belmont, whatever you want to use it for. Go in right now, amwager.com. Get your sign up bonus today. $61,000 on the line in the optional claimer in race 8. We're going a mile on the turf here. Open company here. This is for 3 and up. And I think, boy, down the hill in this one. Good luck getting a winner out of this one, Barry, because this is just a spectacular race here. You and I both have the one in our handicapping. You have that horse on top. I have it third. I will let you talk about Ottoman Prince.
Yeah, that this horse is just much improved from last year, and it shows. I mean, the buyer speed figures have been ascending since this horse got unveiled on February 9th, 2025, and then 1-2 back to back going a mile. I mean, those are really good efforts against a bunch of good horses, at this level. Beat Quezon, who's in here. Um, I think just having this horse draw the rail is important as well because there isn't a whole hell of a lot of speed here. And I think that forces this horse to get good position. And that might be the best thing that could ever happen for Ottoman Prince.
I have a horse that's finished 60% of his races on top in first place. But they finished second in 60% of those races. And that's probably a bad job by me and Spycatcher, the 12 on the outside. Ava Lascano here, Mark Glad as well. If people have followed me at all, they know that on turf routes, I just want horses that I know are going to be part of the finish. And if that happens to be the 12 in this spot, I'll feel very good about it. Ava Lascano piloted this one to a mile and an eighth race last time. If that race were at a mile, I think the horse wins. We get to cut back in distance here, get back to what this horse does way better. Never miss the board going the 1 mile on the turf. A win, 2 seconds, and a third. And the 4 starts doing that. Has won at Santa Anita over the turf as well. I think Spycatcher, if he can overcome that outside position, will be just fine in here and do a great job. I also think Jewel Shillelagh, right next to him, is an interesting entrant as well. Has been running in optional claimers and frankly winning them. Has won 2 of his last 3. His only loss was by a nose in an optional claimer at this distance. 3 for 9 lifetime, has hit the board 6 times in 9 tries, going a mile on the turf. I just think this one sets up really well for the 2 outside horses, Barry, in 12 and 11. But I know you are looking to another spot, and Kaysen has caught your eye, the 4 horse here, the aforementioned Armando Ayuso.
Yeah, it's another one of those kind of plays. This horse is getting actually reunited with him. He won at Santa Anita October 14th, 2023, going a mile in a conditioned start allowance race. And for some reason, they went to the dirt. I don't know why, but it muddies this horse's form up enough to where people aren't really believers in this horse. I know he's kind of stepping up a little bit, but he's been steadily running good races on the turf for a while. I don't see that changing. I like the last workout on May 22nd at 15-1. I have to throw this horse in there.
You also think that the 7's got a shot in here.
Yeah, King of Clubs. I mean, we talked about this horse just a little bit ago. This horse has been favored every time he's been on the track. This is definitely a class test, but I think this horse is up to the task. I think he's going to outrun his odds.
Late double will start in race 9. Another cool wager out there at Santa Anita Park. $5 minimum and a 15% takeout. So another bet that we love on this program presented by Amwager and amwager.com or on the Sporting Tribune. This is Louie Rabaut. Barry Spears of SoCal Saturdays got you for Santa Anita Park. Tomorrow, maiden 50. is the penultimate race there at Santa Anita Park tomorrow. 6 furlongs, dirt, 33,000 in the purse for this one. Barry, I'll go first in this one. Give you 10 seconds off or so. We both have the 6 in our handicapping. I have the 6 on top in this one. In Sela Hall, I love a second time starter. I get exactly that in the Carmona Miyati combination here. Steve, sneaky good start again to another meet there at Santa Anita Park. 6 first 30, has won 20% of his races. Not great with second timers, unfortunately. Does not hit at a huge number with them, but I think this horse has been training well enough for me to take a stab at 9-2 on the line there for this one. Barry, I know you landed on the 1. Did you do the first? Oh, it's not a first time starter. Go ahead.
Almost second time starter. Yeah, I can definitely forgive that race. Almond Joy was in there. This horse did absolutely no running at all, so it's almost like that didn't happen. If you look at the workouts, they've been very steady and getting better, culminating with that 47-1 from the gate May 31st. This race kind of shapes up like the other one earlier, where the horses that have a lot of starts, you kind of want to fade. They're piling up these losses, and there's really not much after that. A horse on the rail that showed speed. This is another one that needs to get to the front, but I think this horse can do it.
I went 6-8-5 here. The 5 is Ponytail Pete. You and I both have that horse later in our handicapping. A difficult one to figure out, but Billy Anti-Georgia gets the mount here for George Papapadromu, and he's good with first timers, man. That's the only thing I can say is that George does a good job with these horses. He has them ready. I got to imagine that May 18th works got you feeling the type of way.
Absolutely. And even the one before that, the May 5th, I think he knows how quick this horse is. And you get those longer stamina type building 5 furlong works. So this horse is going to be prepared. I think he's going to run well. Whether he can get to the lead in front of a horse like Prize Conquest, we'll see. The only difference between the two, honestly, was that one start that Prize Conquest had.
I think Type of Way is now a 20-year-old hip hop reference, at least 20 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm not at all sure why I used it, but here we are. I think the 8's worth mentioning in this spot too. In Sav's Thirsty Star, another second time starter. Frank Alvarado had the mount last time. Armando picks up this time for Brian Corner. Those two, man, used to be absolute royalty at Golden Gate Field. It's cool to see them matching up here. The horse actually broke well. It was running well at the beginning of the race, and I think started to look around and do kind of the things that first time starters do once in a while. And so it'll be interesting to see if Sav's Thirsty Star, the son of Stay Thirsty, runs or a daughter of Stay Thirsty, I should say, runs any better in race 9 tomorrow at Santa Anita Park. We'll close it with race 10. This is a mile on the turf. Once again, an open maiden special weight. You don't have to be a Calbred, in other words, for fillies, mares 3, 4, and 5 in this spot here. Barry, will let you go first in this one. And boy, you are long shot hunting today. 10-1 on Ante out of the 2-hole here.
Yeah. Ante. I think this horse is gonna appreciate the stretch out. Being at
I'm not going to see this 20-year-old hip hop references. I don't say Auntie. I'm never going. The cookout's out of range for me. It's done. We're done
here. we're gonna have to put your application under review. But this horse has got some pedigree there out of a Frankel mare, and stretching out seems like the right thing to do at this point in this career. The horse ran okay. The only problem is this horse seems to get out of the gate a little slow, but going longer, that's not as big of an issue. And getting Kyle Frey, the Frey train, he's been riding well, so we'll give this one a shot at 10-1.
If the 13 draws in is a must use, just putting it out there for Herschel gets in. I wanted to mention that before I get too deep into my handicapping, because that's one we don't see them draw in. The AEs don't draw in at Santa Anita very often for whatever reason. But that one, if the 13 draws in here, definite must use. I think Church Lady, the 12, is really interesting for Juan Hernandez and Phil D'Amato. Ran well at a mile and an eighth last time. I think the shortening in distance will help this one at least a little bit. Was good to back going a mile as well. Only been in the US. I think moved here in February, if my notes are correct. And so this one, just put in a very quick little short bullet work the other day on the Tapeta course there. So I wonder if they're trying to get her out of the gate a little bit more quickly so that she's ready to pounce when she gets toward the end of that race. And my sense is that's exactly what they're trying to do. You have Edge of Molly. I've never been to Molly, but you have Edge of Molly in your second spot here, the 11 horse, 6-1 on the line here. Antonio Fresu in the mount. Oh, you are muted, my friend. How do you get muted? Don't be muted. Muted is
That's
bad.
my
Keep
fault.
going.
My
That's
bad. My bad.
Your auntie would be very disappointed. Yes, keep going.
Edge of Molly, that one race at Dundalk was pretty decent.
Yep.
There was 14 horses in that race. This horse kind of
Wow.
closed. It kind of loomed up and just couldn't get by the winner. Coming over here, trying the turf for the first time against a field that's sort of mediocre.
Sure.
I could certainly see this horse winning first time over here getting Lasix. Mullins really doesn't do a whole lot of this, but he does get his go-to rider in Fresu.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I'd let the board be my guy. If this horse like drifts up to like 15-1, you might want to give second thoughts on that.
Okay. Nima's in here, a first timer for Baffert on the turf. Almost never see this out of him. I don't know what to do with this one here, Barry, other than I'm not letting it beat me. I will tell you that for damn sure. And so I don't know quite what to make of this. He's got Drayden Van Dyke riding on this one, but this is before this year was not an uncommon combination, was old Baffert and Drayden Van Dyke. Obviously, Juan's going to stick with a horse that he thinks got a really serious shot more to the outside there. But this Nima, son of Curlin, Freud on the damn side, they paid $460,000 for this horse. I wonder if they just don't know what to do, or if he just watched this horse work and then it got on the Tapeta and he was like, wait, never mind. This horse really loves this. I guess we'll try the turf, something like that. I've seen stranger things than Bob Baffert win a first. That's all.
Oh, so, yeah. I mean, who knows? This horse is definitely bred for the turf. It seems like this is one of those horses that somebody bought and was like, you know what? Let's give it to Bob Baffert. And he's like, all right, well, I think this is a turf horse. I mean, the works look decent enough. He survived at least partially Bob Baffert's program. So why not?
There you go. All right. Well, that has been another rendition of SoCal Saturday. Quick pick in the Belmont, Barry.
Rodriguez to the hoop.
Get the lead, keep the lead.
That's it.
Okay. All right. I'm going with Sovereignty this weekend. As I have said on many other shows, which you can find, by the way, on the Horse Racing Happy Hour platform, whether it was Barry this morning on ESPN 680, with me last night on the Horse Racing Happy Hour itself. We had a roundtable that I thought turned out really great. It was really, really a lot of fun there as well. And hey, I also interviewed Bailey Hare, who is now the new racing secretary at Ellis Park, on the Kentucky Racing Spotlight, and Junior Alvarado. He'll ride Sovereignty on Saturday in the Belmont Stakes. He was our guest on Blood Horse Monday as well. You can find all of those at the platform for the Horse Racing Happy Hour, and we would love for you to join us every week on this show as well. Again, thanks to our friends at AmWager and AmWager.com. Get in on their deposit bonus right now. 100% deposit match of $150 to get you ready for your wagering weekend live in California. He's Barry. I'm Louie. Thanks so much for joining us here on SoCal Saturday.